Good morning, everyone. My name is Francia. Today we're going to practice a Vinyasa Flow with a little bit of restorative. We're going to go ahead and grab either a thick blanket or a cushion, and then a pair of blocks are going to be useful for your practice today. We're going to start in a standing up position, so come to the top of your mat. Bring the toes and heels together. Kind of soften the soles of the feet and spread the toes nice and wide so that you feel really rooted and grounded. Plant them down. And kind of find that center between the toes and the heels, outside and the insides of the feet. And then allow that energy to rise up through the pelvis. When you bring the energy to the pelvis, take a little tuck under through the tailbone and lift up through the rib cage, creating a nice straight line. From there, let your shoulders relax, let your arms hang down heavy. Keep the chin parallel to the floor and just gaze forward for a moment. Allow the breath to draw in, expanding the lungs, and to release out, softening through all the muscles of the body. One more time, deep breath in, slow breath out. And then we'll begin with inhaling, drawing the arms up. Palms together, gazing towards thumbs. Relax the shoulders back. Keep reaching through your fingertips and grounding down to the soles of the feet. And then exhale, gently take that forward fold, softening through the knees, drawing into the lower navel, and then letting the hands come down next to your feet. Let the head relax. And this first one tends to be a little awkward for us. We tend to need a little bit more bend in the knee. Maybe the hands don't plant all the way down to the floor. It's okay, let them be where they are. Let the head hang heavy. Bring the rib cage towards the thigh. Let there be no space between your upper body and your lower body. Move the shoulders away from the ears and see if you can press the palms down a little bit more, kind of like pressing down and forward. So you're using that as leverage to push the chest towards the thigh. Gaze towards the tip of the nose. And then inhale, let's lift halfway. Now the fingertips can stay on the floor. We can lift the ribcage, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, chin up, look forward. Try and straighten your legs here. See what happens. You start to feel engagement in the quads, a little bit of engagement in the calves, a nice deep stretch in the hamstrings. And then exhale, let's softly release again. Plant the hands slightly forward of your feet and walk or step your feet to a down dog position. So we're going to come to a down dog position first. Make your down dog a little bit wider than normal, so moving the feet back a tad bit, palms nice and grounded and rooted. And let's just stay here for a couple of breaths before we move on. Shoulder blades move back and away. Keep the belly drawn in nice and tightly. Feel the extension in the leg as you find a nice engagement in the quadriceps, so the front of your thigh, lifting the kneecaps up. This pose here, downward facing dog, is a full body stretch. So let your head hang. Feel that full body stretch. Now from here, we're going to look forward between the hands and we're going to roll the weight forward so we find ourselves in a high plank. You may need to adjust your feet a little bit. Once you find yourself in a high plank, push the floor away, protract the shoulders, and keep your body nice and flat. Press the heels back. So instead of bringing all your weight forward to your hands, move some weight back to your heels, but keep your core nice and engaged. Let's stay here for 5 breaths. 1, shoulder blades move away. 2, strong extended body. 3, strong core. 4, we're almost there. Now 5, let's bring the knees down to the floor and press the tops of the feet onto the mat. Don't let your feet lift up, press them down. Bring your hips slightly forward, and then exhale, hug the elbows right next to your body as you lower down, chin forward, all the way down to the mat. Move back a little bit here. Now inhale, just cobra. Open your heart space. Keep pressing the tops of the feet onto the floor. Shoulder blades roll back. Lengthen through the torso. Keep pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Heels pointing straight up to the sky. Maybe the kneecaps lift off the mat. Engage the legs, engage the glutes. Breath and lift. Using your back muscles, not so much your hands. And then exhale, let's release. From here, tuck the toes under, press back onto your knees, and then let's bring the knees forward to come into an all fours position or tabletop. Inhale, moving into our cow position, shoulders back, open heart, lift chest, tailbone up. Exhale to curl into cat. Rounding the back, tucking the tailbone under, separating the shoulder blades even more. Again, inhale to cat, or to cow, I should say. Opening the heart space, let the belly relax. Feel the stretch in the front body as you extend. Exhale, curl into cat. Tuck under to the tailbone, chin to chest. Hollow out the inside of the front body. And inhale, back to cow. Last one. Shoulders back, open heart. Remember, we're warming up here nice and easy. Exhale, roll into cat. Next, inhale breath, coming to a flat back, tucking the toes under, and then pressing up, back into our downward facing dog. Stay here for a few breaths. Coming from our tabletop position, there's no need to adjust the feet too much unless you really feel like you need to. But let's go ahead and bring the feet a little closer to each other. Maybe so there's like space for one extra foot between your 2 feet, if that makes any sense. So a little closer, perhaps than even hip width apart. Gaze up towards your upper thighs or in the direction of your navel. Move your chest and rib cage through. Let your neck be relaxed and long. Let the shoulders wrap around your body. Strong fingers, strong feet. Press the heels down even if they don't touch. Reach with energy. And then inhale, look forward. Walk or step your feet forward back to the top of your mat. Inhaling right away to lift the chest, shoulders back. Exhale, folding deeply. Now here, maybe you find you don't need to bend the knees so much, but maybe you find you do. See what you can do. Fold deeply. Close the space between your rib cage and your thighs, between your upper body and your lower body. Use your arms as leverage to push yourself forward and down, rolling the weight forward to the toes. Exhale. And then inhale, coming all the way back up. Palms together, gazing towards your thumbs, shoulder blades back. Gaze towards the fingertips. Ground to the soles of your feet. Press the thighs against each other. And then exhale, arms down by your side. Good. All right. Let's do that 2 more times. We'll add on each time a little bit more. So inhale a little bit faster. Arms up. Gaze towards thumbs. Stay with my count here. Strong feet. Exhale. Gently forward fold. Let your arms kind of come all the way down. Palms down. Top of the head releases. Soften the knees if you need to. Remember, you do what you need to do here. Inhale, lift halfway. Reach the chest. Shoulders roll back. Find your weight forward onto the toes. Exhale, plant your hands on the floor. Full palms down on the mat. Step or walk your feet back and come to a downward facing dog, just like we did the last one. I know it's a little confusing because normally we go right into the plank. But when you find the downward facing dog, you can bend the right knee and move your left hip back. Terry, I'm recording that direction. And then you can bend your left knee and move your right hip back. And then kind of move and pedal out through both sides. The joys of being a home yoga teacher, you get all kinds of fun guests. And then find yourself back in your downward facing dog. Let's hold here. 1, 2. Breathe into any tension in the body. 3, calm and peaceful. 4, steady your breath. And 5. Now inhale, look forward and roll your weight forward so your weight is on your shoulders. You may need to walk your feet back a little bit. That's okay. Find your high plank. Lower your hips. So we don't want the hips way up in the sky and we don't want the hips to sag down. So find a nice happy medium here where your core is engaged and you find that nice strong shoulder girdle position. Push the heels back and hold. 1. Good job. 2. Building up some strength. 3. Calm and easy. 4. And 5. Now bring the knees down. Release the tops of the feet on the mat. Don't let them lift. Press the tops of the feet down. And then exhale. Hug those elbows. Lower your chest. Chin down. All the way down. Inhale to come into cobra. You can stay in cobra position, or if you like, you can push up into your upward facing. 2 different ways. Pressing in the hands into the floor. Inhale as you push up. Maybe you come onto your knees and stay here for a moment, kind of wiggle yourself about, see if you can maybe find a little bit more opening. Or if your legs feel nice and strong, you can press into the tops of the feet, lift your kneecaps off the mat, open your heart space in your chest, maybe chin up, gaze to the tip of your nose. Exhale, release the knees down, and come back into your tabletop position. From here, inhale to come into cow, opening the heart. Exhale to curl into cat, tucking the tailbone. 3 times. Inhale, sway up into cow. Let the belly relax. Feel the stretch in the front body. Exhale, tuck everything in. Let the pelvis kind of lead in the motion. Inhale. Use the full breath to come into the asana. Exhale. Full breath. All the way until you're done with the exhale breath. And then inhale back to a flat back. Tucking the toes under, pressing up back into your downward facing dog. And let's just stay here another 5 breaths. Again, if you like, you can walk your feet a little closer to each other. Maybe this time the 2 feet can touch. And it just changes your pose a little bit more when your 2 feet are touching. You might feel a little bit of strain somewhere in the body. Be kind with your body. If it's too much or if it feels wrong, we'll simply take Balasana or child's pose. Take rest. Steady your breath. One more. Contract the quadriceps. Lift up through the kneecaps. Move the chest towards the thighs. Inhale, look forward. Step or walk or jump your feet forward, lengthening the body. Exhale, fold deeply. Inhale to rise up. Palms together, we're gazing at the thumbs, shoulders back and down, long torso. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Good. Last one, we're gonna add some lunges in this one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take your forward fold with control, with ease. Find your legs, let them be grounding you down as you release the head, ribcage towards thighs. Close that space. Inhale, lift halfway. Allow a full breath in as the shoulders roll back. Exhale, plant your hands and step your feet back to your downward facing dog. I know it's going to be a funky for you for this one, but find your downward facing dog. And then we're going to do a little change here. So we're going to take that right foot behind the left. And we're going to push back into that same downward facing dog. So it's just going to give us a little bit of a more opening, perhaps the left side of the body and maybe through the hips if you feel it there. And then back to center. Find down dog again. Left foot behind the right foot. And then push your weight back once more. Stabilize with your breath. Easy and steady. Belly's drawn in. Exhale back to center. Find your down dog once more. And then inhale, look forward, slide your weight forward, maybe slide your feet back. And find your high plank, strong shoulders, lower the hips, stay here. 1, strong fingers. 2, push the floor away. 3, maybe you can press your heels back a little bit more. 4, nice engaged legs. 5, you can either come to your knees or chaturanga from your toes, your choice. All the way down, or rest right back up to your upward facing. So you can stay in this lifted upward facing. You can do cobra. You can do upward facing with your knees down. Press the tops of your feet into the floor no matter which version you're doing. Shoulders roll back and maybe chin up, looking to the tip of the nose. Drop the hips. Relax the glutes if you're an upward facing dog. Exhale, release the head. Roll over the toes. Come back to your downward facing dog. Let's stay here. 1, 2, easy breathing. 3, maybe you can bring your feet closer for the last few. Maybe they can touch, heels touching. 4, and 5. Now, open your left foot out to the side so your heels are together but your left toes are open out. Then you're gonna bend your right knee, look forward, step that right foot forward. Here's a good opportunity to use your blocks. So if you have them nearby, grab your blocks, place them on either sides of your right foot. Hands on the blocks, inhale. Try to lift here, pressing the hips down and forward. So this is a great place to be and stay. Your back leg is contracted. There's no bend in the knee. There's no lifting of the left heel. Press it down. Choice number 2, hands on the thigh, lift up, find the hips lowering, lift the chest, and you can use your arms to help open your chest forward, bring your left shoulder forward and your right shoulder back. Stay and breathe. Whatever version you decide to do, that's fine. Option number 3, you can take your arms up towards the sky for a warrior 1. Press up, arms straight, look up, sit down into your right leg. Exhale, take your hands back down to the block. Lift your left heel off the floor and lower the left knee down. Press the top of the left foot down and then inhale again. Hands can be on the block. Hands can be on your right thigh. As you lift up, hips move down and forward. Mindful that your right knee doesn't shoot past your toes, but directly over your ankle, ideally. Option 3, lift and lengthen, and maybe this time, finding a little bit of a back bend, if that feels right. It might feel more than it looks, and that's okay. Just reach up, chin up, look towards your fingers. Exhale, hands come down to the mat or to the block, and then press your left heel back, tuck your left toes under, and then exhale, take your fold here. Now, because you have the blocks, what I like to do is I like to bring them down to the next level, and then I can rest my elbows there. Or maybe you want to keep them high. Once you're there, you can release the left toes, and you can just let your body fold forward. Gravity helping you pull the weight down. Move those shoulders away from the ears. Try to lengthen through your torso, but keep a little tuck under through the pelvis. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and sit down. So we're going to take that block that's underneath our right hand, slide it back and place it on the inside of the left foot. Then we're going to walk our hands back, sit down on the block. You can move the left one for now. All right. So once you're there, your right butt cheek is on the block. Your left heel is slightly outside your left butt cheek, but you're not sitting on your heel, so wiggle it out a little bit. Flex the right foot. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take that forward fold. You can interlace your fingers. You can hold onto your opposite wrist. You can just grab your foot or ankle or calf, whatever you can reach. And then allow yourself to settle in. If you've been practicing for a while, you don't need the block underneath you, feel free to remove that block. Just kind of move it off to the side and sit down onto the floor. Be mindful that you're not falling over to the right, so you want to keep stabilizing yourself in the center with or without the block. If it feels too awkward, too strange, or folding over to the side, simply place the block back underneath the right hip. Inhale, lengthen here. Exhale to soften. And then inhale, lift halfway, look forward, shoulders back, pull back with your arms. Exhale and release. All right, have the blocks close to the top because you're going to need them again. From here, press into the hands. We're going to lift that right leg up, and we're going to press up, slide the foot back, both feet together. And now we're going to come into a kneeling position or a squat position on the toes. You're welcome to find your fingertips here, find your stability on your legs, and then maybe you can start by lifting the chest, just coming a little higher. If you feel like you have your balance, maybe hands into prayer, lift the rib cage and chest. It's okay if the legs start to swivel and move a little bit, that's fine. Shoulders back, open up your heart space. And then exhale, let's release hands down. Walk the hands forward, let the knees come down, back to tabletop position. Toes tuck under, press up, come to downward facing dog. Feet together or touching or a little closer together than hip width is going to help you find a little different feeling in your downward dog. But if you don't like it, just keep your feet hip width apart. Draw the belly in, lengthen through your torso, Stabilize your body here. We're going to move to the other side. So keep the heels together. Just open your right foot to the side. So your right toes are pointing diagonally. Look forward and step your left foot forward. Big step. Now grab your blocks. Place them on either sides of your left foot. Hands to the blocks. And then start here. So as we start in this position, we're becoming pointed and rooted with our legs. The left knee and the left ankle are stacked. The right leg is strong. The right heel pressing down. You're welcome to stay here. It's a wonderful place to be. You get all the benefits of this posture. Keep drawing in through the navel. Or you can bring your hands to your thigh and then lift up. Use your arms to help you lift your chest. Right shoulder and right hip forward. Left shoulder and left hip move back. Kind of gazing forward. Again, great place to stay. Or if you want to try for the full version of this posture, take warrior one. Palms up, looking up, palms together. Sit into that left leg. Strong legs. Remember, we're warriors, so you can find ease here without a lot of effort. And we'll exhale, release. Hands come back down to the floor. Release the right heel. Right knee comes down. And then point the toe. You can kind of stay here again once more with the hands onto the blocks. Hands onto the thigh, lifting the hip, or lowering the hips and lifting the chest. Or then lastly, arms up, and maybe this one, finding a little bit of a back bend. Shoulders back and down, hips move forward. Strong left leg. Keep pressing the top of the right foot down into the mat. Exhale, hands come down. Good. Toe tucks under to move your weight back just so that you can feel stable. You can lower the blocks and bring your forearms to the blocks. Once you're there, you can release that back toe and allow your exhale to lower your upper body down towards your left leg. So no effort in the arms here. We're just letting gravity do all that wonderful work for us here. Soften the shoulders. Breathe into the tightness or tension. And then inhale. We're going to release back up. Slide that left block on the left side on the inside of the right foot. Move the other one out of the way for now. And then we're going to sit down onto the block. So once you sat down onto the block, remember that right heel needs to be on the outside of your right hip. So you don't want to be hiding the foot underneath your body, but slightly out so that you're actually really only sitting on the block. Then the left leg is engaged, lengthening forward. And we're going to fold, find the ankle or calf or the foot or interlace the fingers. Or if it's acceptable, grab a hold of your opposite wrist and then exhale, take your fold from there. Move the shoulder blades back and down and find your extension. Just as we did on the other side, if you find that the block is more of a hindrance than a help, then we don't need to use it. Then that means you can kind of lean over to the side, move the block, and sit both hips down on the floor, the right hip as well. Recenter yourself, and then take your fold once more. So wherever you are, however deep or not so deep, you're going into these movements, these asanas, let it be. Never trying to push to the point past your limits, but instead playing with each asana to find where your limit lives, and then kind of just swim around it a little bit. Now inhale, lift halfway, pull a little bit with the arms, shoulders back, lengthen the rib cage forward, and then exhale, let's release. Good. Sliding the blocks back to the front here for a moment. We're gonna bring our hands down. We're gonna lift that left leg, right knee comes up. Use your arms, push yourself up and slide the foot back. So now you're in a kneeling position. Once you're in this kneeling position and your toes are down and you're stretching through the Achilles tendon, again, find your balance, maybe onto the fingertips. It helps if you find focus in one spot, maybe on your mat or straight ahead. Keep lifting up through the rib cage, shoulders back. It's okay if the legs shake or quiver a little bit, no worries. Exhale, let's bring the hands down. Bring the knees down, hands come back down, and lift back up to your downward facing dog. Stay here. Easy breathing, head relaxes, shoulder blades back and down. Nice deep inhale, slow, gentle exhale. Good job, you guys. Easy breath, let the kneecaps lift. And then we're gonna look forward between the hands, either step, walk, or you can try jumping. Your feet forward, lift halfway, exhale, let's release. And then here, before we come all the way up, slide the hands forward a little bit, separate your feet, maybe a little wider than hip width. So get a little bit of space between the legs. Soften your knees, let's take a hanging forward fold. I think this is my absolute favorite posture. I do this literally every day. It feels really nice in the lower back, in the upper back, but perhaps for you it doesn't feel so nice. Maybe it feels like you're really trying to fit yourself into a wrong sized or a wrong shaped hole. If that's the case, I recommend you bend your knees as much as you need to, almost like you're going into a squat, really bend. And then let your upper body rest on your side, let your head hang. Try not to close your eyes when you're here. It's one of the things that I automatically want to do, just close my eyes and love, just hang out here. But keep your eyes open, keep your drishti, your focus. Once you've been there with your knees bent a little bit, then you can start to elevate the hips. You can start to try and lengthen the legs as long as the rib cage and the thighs don't separate. Once the rib cage and thighs separate, then it means you need to bend your knees again. Shoulders roll back, long, heavy upper body. So everything from the waist to the head is long and heavy. It's like an anchor pulling you down, rolling the weight forward. Now from here, go ahead, bring the hands to the floor. Inhale, lift halfway, maybe onto the fingertips or onto the blocks, and then chin up. This is going to kind of regulate our head a little bit here after forward folding. It is considered an inversion because we are head below the heart. Then we're going to grab a block, bend the knees, and sit down onto the block. If you need 2 blocks stacked, maybe one block is too short, then you can stack 2 blocks and sit onto 2 blocks. Bring the heels closer towards the block. We're going to take a supported malasana or so basically a supported malasana. So knees are apart. We're going to bring the left elbow inside the right knee, right elbow inside the right knee, and then press the palms together. So left elbow, left knee, right elbow, right knee. You already do. I didn't have to tell you. Lift the rib cage and chest, shoulders back, and just stay here for a few breaths. If you feel the urge to lift your heels, it just means you need a little higher position for your butt. So maybe placing a block in a blanket or 2 blocks might be better for you. We're going to be here for a little bit because we're going to treat this as a restorative posture. So feel free to make little adjustments to wiggle into the space. Allow yourself a moment of softness, right? When we're in warrior poses, the leading element of our practice is effort or stira. And then when we're in restorative poses like this one, even though there is stira involved, the leading element would be sukha or ease. I believe it translates to. So if you want to close your eyes here, this is a nice place to close the eyes because your head is upright, you're not upside down. You can softly kind of scan through your body and see what parts of your body need a little extra love, a little extra attention. If your belly is popping out and relaxed, see if you can engage it. This is going to help protect your back. So draw in through the navel. Keep tucking under through the pelvis. One more breath here, and we're going to add some twisting. Exhale, let's release the hands down. We're going to take the right arm inside the body and reach it as far to the right on the floor as possible. Then we're going to take that left knee. Actually, I'm going to face you guys to make it easier to see. There we go. Okay, so this is the same position we were just in. Now we're going to take that right arm inside, reach it as far to the right as possible. And then let's take the left arm up at a diagonal and look towards the left thumb. What's going to happen is this left knee wants to kind of squeeze in. See if you can keep it open. The right leg will stay open because of the arm, but the left leg you kind of need to engage. Press the feet down, press the toes down, Open the chest, lift and lengthen. And then exhale, let's release. Come back to where we started with both hands in prayer. Stay there a moment, notice and observe how your body is feeling. We're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. So, using that left arm, reach forward and down, plant the left fingertips or palm on the floor. This is gonna help you move your body in that direction. And then right arm just diagonally up. Nice line from the left fingertips to the right fingertips. Reaching up, you can turn your palm down. I like to place the palm forward, but you can also turn it up. You'll play around with it, see how you feel. And then mindful of this right knee is gonna wanna squeak in. So keep opening out, using the strength of your right hip and your right thigh. Lift the chest. Keep twisting your torso through the inside of that left leg. And then exhale, come back to the center. Stabilize with the breath. Easy and steady. Good. We're going to try a little different one now. So we're going to bring the knees in so that they are about hip width apart, so a little bit of a gap between the legs. We're going to take that right arm inside the right leg and then reach it around so the back of your right hand is towards your right hip. We're going to try a bind here. From here, use your left arm to rotate your torso, look towards the left, and then your left arm is going to go behind, and you're going to try and clasp your fingers or your wrists. So you're just grabbing around the right knee. Feet are planted and rooted, both knees are parallel to each other. And then we're rotating, maybe looking back towards the left shoulder. So if I turn myself to the side so you can see, you're kind of holding on and you're rotating your body here. Good. Turn myself back to center. All right, exhale. Let's look forward. Release your bind. Slowly come to center. Take a moment. Open up the feet, and once more, take our nice supported Malasana, which at this point should feel pretty nice. It's a nice way to practice Malasana, especially because this is really tough on the hips and legs when we don't have the support of the block. So when we have the support of the block, we can hold here and be here a little bit longer. We're going to do that same twist, but on the other side. So release your arms, bring your feet in, keep them about hip width apart, about the width of your block. And feet need to be flat down on the mat, kind of underneath you. So don't have your feet forward like this. Keep them tucked underneath you. Left arm is going to go inside the two legs so that the shoulder moves forward. Then you're going to turn your thumb down and rotate so that that left hand is high up. So you can't have the left hand on the floor. You have to bring it high up, which means you have to wiggle it up towards your left kidney. Your right arm, same thing. Thumb down, rotate and reach around until you find your fingertips, until you find your bind. Once you have your bind, draw into the navel and create your twist. It's a nice deep twist. It's really helpful for when we do our Ashtanga twist, our Marichasanas. This is a good variation in Malasana position. Also helps to move into other more intricate poses in the second half of primary series and even into the second series. As we exhale, let's go ahead and release the head first. Then we release the hands and we come back to center, separating the feet, opening the knees out to the side, hands inside in prayer position, and once more we'll take Malasana. Let the head relax. You can turn your head over to one side, other side, maybe chin up, chin down. Just make sure that you are not holding tension in your neck here whatsoever. Zero tension in the neck. The tension here should be felt perhaps in the groin, the hips, maybe even the sides of the body, but not the neck. All right, from here, let's go ahead and release. I'm going to turn myself back to the front. And we're going to bring our arms forward and we're going to try to work on coming up off the block. So I like to use a little bit of momentum, lean back, and then exhale, inhale, come into a lifted position, still squatting down. And then exhale, sit down. Okay, so if you tried that and you lean back and you came forward and couldn't come up, that's okay. This is hard. We're going to try it several times just to see. Use your arms as counterbalance. So lean back, belly in, exhale, inhale, lift yourself yourself up, use those strong legs. Good. Shoulders back and down. Exhale, let's sit back down with control. No arms needed to sit down. Last one, if you want to try to make it a little bit harder for these next two, we're not going to lean back anymore. We're just going to use this core strength. Exhale, inhale, forward and up. Find balance. Good. Shoulders back and down. Exhale, gently sit with control. Lift the chest. One more time, with or without the lean back. Exhale. Inhale, forward and up. Nice job, guys. Stay strong, strong legs, belly in. Exhale, come to seated. And you can release the arms. You can extend the legs forward. You can stay on the block if you like. Pressing the heels into the mat. If you have kind of double jointed situation with your legs, be mindful of your knees, maybe a slight bend here. Sometimes my knees go the opposite way, which is not supposed to happen. So I have to be very careful of that. Perhaps that's the same case for you and your body. Or the other option is to simply come off the block so you can just sit, and now the floor will keep your knees from pushing in the opposite direction. We'll take Dandasana position, hands on the mat, lift the rib cage, lift the shoulders back. So Dandasana is a very fundamental asana in our primary series. And it's basically like a seated Samasthiti. You want to make sure when you do Dandasana that your hands are not behind you, that your elbows don't bend, but instead that you find this lift and lengthen through the torso. As the shoulders roll back, Dandasana presses down through the heels, down through the calves, and the chin tucks down so that you can lengthen the back of the neck, and your gaze is towards the tip of your nose or towards your chest. Easy as you breathe here. Exhale. Keep the shoulders roll back. So you don't want to bring shoulders to the ears. You want to move them away from the ears. And then slowly let's release. We're going to slide the hands back for Purvottanasana. So palms down, shoulders back, point to the toes. In January's newsletter, I break this pose down in all its benefits. So it's a really good pose for us to practice. Now, as you look towards your belly button, tuck down through your pelvis. Press the heel down. Keep pointing through your toes. Strong leg. Inhale, elevate the hips. Keep the belly drawn in. Keep looking down towards your belly and toes down. And then exhale, drop your head back. 1, strong shoulders. 2, lift the rib cage. 3, press down towards the toes. 4, almost there. 5, exhale, lower yourself back down. Take a moment, release. Let's go ahead and lay all the way onto our backs. So I like to turn around because I'm used to when you're in a class in a shala, the teacher is always going to be at the top where the front of your mat is. So it's not, traditionally you don't put your feet towards the teacher, you put your head towards the teacher. So in this case, the sun is my teacher. The sun is always on that side when I practice in the morning. So turning around is a good practice to do. Even if you're at home, it's a way to honor the lineage of this practice. So once you're on your back, just take a moment to have your feet apart. Maybe your knees can kind of fold in. Check in with your breath. Let your back be completely flat down on the mat. So no arching, no kind of pushing down. Just a nice, supported, and easy position for your body. You can close your eyes. Exhale. And we're going to take the legs up the wall or a shoulder stand, up to you. An option is to just simply bring the legs up. You can also grab your block and you can kind of use the momentum of your legs to elevate your hips, and then you can resettle your hips back down. If that's not really accessible, you can bring your legs down, press your hips up, position your block in the right place at your sacrum, and then take your legs back up. So this is one option, either with the hips down or the hips on the block, is to find a nice release. The legs are up, toes are relaxed. You can kind of wiggle them, flex and point to the toes, and kind of just be here. It's a really wonderful place to be. If you want to try going into shoulder stand, remember if you're on your cycle or if you have any neck injuries or anything that's going to make it so that this pose is not comfortable and in fact quite dangerous, then you want to stay here. This is a wonderful place to be. But I want to give you the option, if you like to take Salama Sarvangasana from the hips on the block or from the floor, press your legs back, hands kind of wiggle underneath you so that you can bring your hands to your lower back and all your 5 fingers pointing straight up. Yes, 10 fingers. Then the toes go straight up, and you're finding your weight here in your shoulders and on the backs of your arms. Stabilize with your breath. Point through the toes, strong legs, maybe even engage through the glutes. Chin towards the chest, but don't squeeze your throat. Just allow that natural Jalandhar Bandha there to engage the natural lock of the throat. And then exhale, you can either go back to your hips down, or you can try going for Halasana. So you can either go back to your hips to the block, or you can take your legs overhead. The toes come down to the floor. Let me move that blanket. There we go. So you can stay with your toes tucked under like this, hands on your head, or you can try to release the toes so the tops of the feet are on the mat. Pressing the legs together, hollowing out the belly. If your feet are down and you feel comfortable, you can release your hands down, or you can interlace your fingers and lengthen your arms. If your block is in the way, you can move it over. And stay here, softening. It's a little hard to breathe here. We're going to try anyway. Shoulders relax. From here, we're going to take Karna Pindasana. So we're going to bend the knees, squeeze the ears with the knees, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Keep hauling up the navel. If the knees don't quite make it to the ears, that's okay. Just squeeze your temples. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Toes and heels together, tops of the feet. Stay on the mat. And then exhale, we're going to release back. Hands back onto the lower back. Wiggle those elbows in so you feel supported. Hands flat. And then inhale, lift those legs back up. Good. From here, we're just going to cross our ankles, open our knees, and find balance here. You want to bring the weight to your shoulders. Maybe take the left hand to the left knee. Keep the right hand behind you for support. Keep the feet flexed, the knees open to the sides. And then switch, bringing the left hand to the lower back, right hand to the right knee. Staying there, finding balance, finding ease within the discomfort and the observation of this posture. And then release, come back. Now we're going to squeeze the legs in. Keep the knees open. Maybe the right hand can grab the left ankle. And maybe the left hand can grab the right ankle. And you can squeeze yourself into Pindasana. Easy breathing. Rounding the back. Finding a little bit of balance here. And then exhale, let's release the ankles. Bring the hands back down. And with control, hands to the outsides of the hips. Start to lower yourself down. Keep your head on the floor. Let your hands kind of slide up the legs. Once the tailbone is down, lower your feet down to the floor. Keep your ankles crossed and your knees open wide if you want to bring your knees to the mat. From here, press your elbows into the mat. Lift your head, chest, and ribcage. Top of the head down. And then release the weight off your arms. Arms straight, palms onto your thighs. Shoulders back and away. Keep the chest lifted. Try to get the top of the head onto the mat. Look down to the tip of your nose, opening the throat. So we did all those compressions. Now we're doing extensions through the throat. And then we're going to go into Uttana Padasana. Release just the legs into Navasana legs. Arms up, palms together. Still gazing to the tip of the nose. Still lifting the chest. Shoulder blades back and down. Legs straight, arms straight. Stabilize your breath. Exhale, let's release the arms first. Then release the head. And come back into our legs up the wall. Let the head relax. Maybe move the head side to side. You can do a chakrasana here to come out by rolling back, or you can just roll up to seated. Chakrasana is not the best in the world, but if we don't practice it, we can never do it. So I'm going to try it here. Palms down. Inhale. Roll your legs up and over, and then allow yourself to come back to a position. There you go. Hands down. Find your high plank. Exhale. Lower down. Inhale. Lift and lengthen. Tops of the feet down. Shoulders back. Exhale, curl over the toes, downward facing dog. Now we're going to go for dolphin pose or headstand, whichever is in your practice. Bringing the knees down, hands down on the floor, hold on to your opposite elbows. You can start here, interlacing your fingers or having your palms flat if you're doing dolphin. If you're going to interlace your fingers, open your hands so that there's a little basket being made by your hands. So I'll do dolphin first and then I'll walk you guys through headstand. For dolphin, palms down on the mat, toes tuck under, lift the hips, shoulders back and down. You can let your head relax, look towards your toes, and then walk those toes in towards your elbows. And let's stay here. 1. You can rock a little bit if you like. 2, strong shoulders. 3, try to come up onto your toes. 4, easy with the breath, strong shoulders. 5, exhale, walk the feet back and bring the knees down. Let's take a little balasana here before we try headstand. Forehead down, arms straight. Deep breath in, slow, easy breath out. So for headstand, you set up the same way, finding that space between your elbows. This time we interlace the fingers, and instead of looking down, we're going to place the top of the head on the mat and the back of the head into the hands. Press into your shoulders so that your head isn't quite touching the mat, just grazing over the mat. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, and walk yourself in. If you're putting too much weight on your head, then you want to stay here. If you feel like your arms and shoulders are holding you, lift onto the toes and let your heels come in towards your butt. Once you're there, you can lift the knees, find the straight legs, or just stay with your legs down. Shoulders back and down, top of the head, barely touching the floor. Easy and stable with the shoulders. 3, holding for 5. See if you can do it. 4, do what you can with that. 5, now bend the knees, slowly make your way down. And you're really going to bump into it. And come down into balasana. Forehead on the mat, arms straight or arms back towards the body, or elbows bent, arms relaxed. You can open your knees a little bit if that feels more comfortable. And let's stay here for 5, 4, shoulders soften. 3, 2, nice and easy. And 1. Inhale, lift the head, pressing into the hands, slowly come up. We're going to come into a seated position. So lean forward, cross your feet. Inhale, pick your knees up off the floor. Slide your feet forward, extend your legs, and come to seated. Good job. Once you're in seated, let's take a half lotus or a full lotus if that's in your practice. If you do have a full lotus in your practice, I recommend leaving it for the last part. So for now, maybe just a half lotus. Hands behind the back, hold on to opposite elbows. Lift the length and exhale. Fold forward, chin to the floor. If the chin and the floor don't quite meet, it's okay. Let the head hang, moving in that direction. Staying here, deep breathing. Easy breathing. Calming the nervous system. Calming the body. Everything's okay. Almost there. See if you can let your forehead or the top of the head or the tip of the nose or the chin come down to the mat. And then inhale, slowly make your way back up. And exhale at the top. Release your arms. If you had your half lotus, then take your half lotus with the other foot on top or cross your other foot in front. Your choice here. Remember, if you have full lotus, you're welcome to do all of these postures in full lotus. But if you can only hold it for a little bit of time, I recommend saving it for the end. Now, left arm extends, right arm extends, thumb and index fingers together, other three fingers extended, lift the rib cage and chest, shoulders back. Stay here. Breathe deeply. So this posture is called Padmasana position. And what we're trying to accomplish in this particular asana is a sense of lift through the torso. So never rounding and never surrendering to gravity, but instead moving away from gravity by lifting and lengthening. If, like me, one of your knees is high, that's okay. Just kind of keep moving it down towards the earth. Be mindful of the ankle that's in half lotus, that it's not swaying down, but instead find a little bit of straightness within it. So that means pressing the toes down onto the right thigh if it's your left leg. And then we're just trying to find a movement of breath that feels natural and steady and rhythmic. And with this movement of breath, we can create a sense of awareness and peace as we wrap up our practice here with the last asana, Utplutihi. So we're going to release that left leg if the left leg is on top. So for Padmasana position, if Padmasana is not in your practice, just cross your feet, tuck them underneath you, place your hands on the floor. Try not to use blocks if you don't absolutely need them. And then you're just going to lift up, open your knees to the side, bring weight to your hands so that maybe you can lift one foot, bring that foot down, and then lift the other foot. Now, if you want to try Padmasana, I recommend you give it a try with a sense of a little bit of like, maybe not for me. So we're going to try. Right foot goes into a half lotus position so that the top of the ankle is pressing against the inner or upper left thigh. Then the knee comes down. Then you're going to lean back a little bit, bend the left knee, and maybe see, okay, that doesn't feel so bad. Maybe you can try sliding that left foot forward so that the knee can come down. We're going to pick up that whole left leg from the ankle to the calf, and we're going to lift it up and kind of wiggle that foot up. So this is how it first starts. This is how Padmasana starts. Maybe it's close to the knee. Now what you want to do is check in with the right ankle, check in with the left knee, the right knee, the hips. Everything should feel okay, maybe a little tight. If it feels all right, we're going to slide that foot a little closer, up higher towards the right hip. And then we're going to squeeze our Padmasana. So I like to kind of wiggle my toes, bring the knees in towards each other. Still, one side of my body is a little bit tighter than the other, so my left side tends to always be lifted. That's okay. As long as there's no pain, no worries. Then you're going to place your hands on the floor, lift the knees up together so that you can find elevation in the legs. And then as you inhale, everything comes up. And we hold here. 1, only going to hold for 5. 2, keep the knees lifted, hips up. 3, strong shoulders, don't give up. 4, if your feet are down, lift one of the feet off the floor. 5, exhale, lower down. Good job. Now we can release our Padmasana by wiggling that foot out. Be kind to going out of the posture as you were going in. You can extend the leg, extend the other leg. Shake it out. Padmasana is a long journey. If you weren't able to do it today, don't worry. All right, we're going to lay all the way onto the back. And we're going to take our Shavasana. So let your head relax. Let your legs extend if that feels right. If it hurts your lower back, you can keep your knees bent. Arms by your side, palms facing up. Stabilize your breath. Close your eyes. Let all of the postures go. Let all of the effort go. Now you're here. Muscles, tendons, ligaments, veins, arteries, cells, tissue in your body. Everything relaxes. Bones, you mentioned bones, they relax too. As the breath flows through, in and out through the nostrils, you feel a deep sense of connection, maybe to the earth below us, or to the space around us. happy and content, just being right here, right now. Keep the breath moving steadily, rhythmically, naturally. Slowly and gently, we'll begin to reawaken by bringing awareness to the fingers and the toes, the hands, the feet, the wrists, ankles can start to move and sway. Maybe taking a full body stretch, reaching the arms up overhead, pointing the toes, maybe a little side to side if that feels nice. And then exhale, hug the knees into the chest, lift the head towards the knees, give yourself a tight squeeze. Exhale again, release. Rolling over onto our side here for a moment. Doesn't matter if it's the left or the right side. Just take your little side rest here for just a breath or two. And then inhale, making our way back up to seated. And thank you so much for joining me for practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, always try to keep practicing. A little bit every day goes a long way. Thank you again. Namaste.